I bought a $3.2 million penthouse in the city center with my hard-earned money, but my own family treated it like the home of a weak girl and turned it into their personal guest house. I was standing just inside the door watching my cousin's kids climb onto my white sofa with their shoes still on. My aunt was in the kitchen on the phone telling someone, "Yeah, we stay here all the time now. She has plenty of space." I didn't say anything. I just watched. That was the first day I realized they didn't see this place as my home. They saw it as their convenience. If you've ever been underestimated or taken for granted, stay with me. Subscribe and walk this journey with me. You won't believe what happened at 1017. I bought that penthouse in cash. After 10 years of work. I worked at a tech company. I put in overtime. I didn't take vacations. I saved every bonus. When I held the key in my hand, I thought this would finally be my space. Quiet. Safe. But the key didn't stay in my hand for long. First, my older sister came. She said she was only staying for 2 days because her husband had a business meeting in the city. Then they stayed 4 days. The next month they came back. Then she brought her mother-in-law without even asking me. I still didn't say anything. Then my brother came. He said he had a job interview downtown. He stayed a week. Then he said he was looking at apartments. Then he said rent was too high right now and asked for a little more time. He started inviting his friends over. I became a guest in my own home. Every weekend someone showed up. One said they were in town for shopping. Another had a doctor's appointment. Someone else wanted to bring their kids to see the city. Everyone had a reason. No one had permission. I would go to the office in the morning and come home in the evening to find empty Costco boxes on my dining table. My wine bottle half empty. The guest room sheets changed. One time I saw my master bedroom door open and my aunt's bag sitting inside. I stood in the doorway. She looked at me and said, "Oh, we thought you wouldn't mind. You're alone anyway." I nodded. I said, "Yeah, it's fine." To them I was alone. So my home had no boundaries. This didn't happen in one day. It happened slowly. First they asked. Then they informed me. Then they just showed up. We had a family group chat on my phone. A message would pop up. "We're arriving tonight." No question. Just an announcement. Once I told my sister I needed a little privacy. She laughed and said, "Stop being dramatic. You bought this place for us anyway. For family." She looked at me like I was selfish. That day I understood something clearly. They thought I was weak. They thought I was afraid of confrontation. They thought because I was single and living alone I depended on them. They thought I would never say no. I stayed quiet. I watched. I took notes. I spoke to the HOA office. I checked the building's security cameras. I reviewed how many times my resident access card had been used for entry. I requested copies of the gate logs. I saved everything. I met with a lawyer. I told him everything. He asked me one question. "Have you ever formally given them permission to reside there?" I said, "No. Never." He nodded. "Then this is trespassing." I waited a few more days. I gave them even more freedom. I said nothing when they threw a small party in my kitchen. I said nothing when my brother added my penthouse address to his Instagram bio like it was his place. I just watched the time. That night they were all upstairs. My sister, her husband, my brother, 2 cousins. They were standing on the balcony looking at the city lights. I was in the kitchen watching the clock. 10:14 p.m. A message came in from my lawyer. "We're ready." At 10:16 I called the security desk. I said, "I'm reporting unauthorized individuals on my property." They asked, "Are they your guests?" I said, "No, they are not." At 10:17 there was a knock on the door. My brother opened it. 2 security officers and 1 police officer were standing there. They said, "We received a report of unauthorized occupancy." Everyone looked at me. My sister laughed and said, "This is our home." I answered directly, "No, it's mine. And all of you are here illegally." The room went silent. The police officer asked me for documentation. I handed him the file. Copy of the deed. HOA regulations. The attorney's notice. He looked through it then turned to them. "You need to vacate the premises immediately." My aunt said, "She's lost her mind." I looked at her and said, "No. I'm the owner." My brother raised his voice. He said I was throwing family onto the street. I didn't respond. I looked at security. They said, "You have 15 minutes." They started scrambling. Bags were being zipped. Phone calls were being made. Messages flooded the group chat. She called the cops. What is she doing? I stood there. I didn't say a word. When they walked out, I stood by the door. My sister stopped in front of me. She said, "You'll regret this." I replied, "No, I won't." The door closed. I immediately called the building manager to change the locks. He came upstairs. He reset the electronic code. All access cards were deactivated. I submitted written instructions to security not to allow entry under any name connected to them. I texted my lawyer, "They're gone." He replied, "We'll send the cease and desist tomorrow." The next day they received formal notice that they were not permitted to step onto my property. If they did, they would be arrested. My brother called me. I didn't answer. My sister sent a long message. I didn't read it. My aunt posted on Facebook that I was ungrateful. I didn't respond. I kept my silence. A few days later, I sat alone in my penthouse for the first time. On the balcony. The city lights were the same. But the air felt different. No noise. No suitcases. No unauthorized entry. I cleaned the kitchen. I cleared out the guest room. I closed my bedroom door and for the first time, slept peacefully. They thought I was weak because I didn't speak. They didn't know I was watching. Counting. Preparing. At 10:17 I didn't just call the police. I drew a line. Now they can't even reach my door. Security recognizes them. Their names are flagged in the building records. My lawyer has every document stored. If they try again, the case goes straight to court. I took my home back. And this time the key belongs only to me. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to draw a line and take your power back, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support helps more stories like this reach the people who need them most. Thank you for reading and for being here with me until the very end.